Well, how y'all doing? Derpy Jack here. Um, we've been on this series, apparently. God, well, the Spirit has. I've had to go along with them. Of what revelation, what is expected in revelation, what is expected of us when it comes to God, what He expects of us who are Christian, who are born again, who are Spirit filled, who are supposedly supposed to be carrying His power. In all this, the whole point is spiritual preparation, being spiritually prepped for the inevitable, whether it comes in your own lifetime or whether the actual end, or if you rapture people are ever actually right. I don't know. All I'm saying is that you always have to consider it this way. The reality is you're born, and then somewhere along the line of after your birth, you die. You could die natural, you could die unnatural, whatever the case may be. The reality in between that, from the time you were born till the time you die, that reality is what is going on, the living, the life. Also, what continues to go on is a fall. See, you can't, no matter whether you want to be an agnostic or not, the truth of the matter is there was a fall of mankind. And in that, there has never been a natural rebound. Like there isn't an evolutionary trick to turn man back around mentally. It's not going to happen. The fall was a break of a deed. Then you have to understand it those terms. For you people say everything's natural, everything's just. I'm telling you, man. There's a take and there's a go. There's a time. There's a place. Ecclesiastes is the perfect book in this. There's a time for everything under the season, but there has been a placement of whatever you're going to do in that season, in that time period, in that time slot. I'm not trying to confuse you all. I'm trying to get you to understand is that as the movies told us about the computerized or AI'd or whatever it is, artificial intelligent matrix, with the Keanu Reeves movies and all that. We're in a matrix of reality. Now, here's the thing. You got to understand whose reality we're in. And when you finally realize that, hopefully, your pride will melt. Here's the thing. We're in God's reality. Okay? Let's just keep this in as simple terms as we can. We are all in God's reality. So whatever God deems right, wrong, up, down, that is because He is the maker of His matrix. Okay? We are a part of His matrix. Now, we are independent thinkers. We have independent choice, thought, reasoning. As Jesus, who was born, a perfect example, Jesus was born a man with a personality, which was given to him, molded, created, or packaged, or downloaded in his hard drive, if you will, Jesus' personality. Now, Jesus was a man. He got cut, he would feel cut. If somebody kicked him in the chin, he would feel the chin. He'd have to go and eat. He'd feel hungry, stomach would growl, have to go and let it loose, too much water in the body. No different than us. That's reality. Jesus was a man. And for all you people who have made Jesus even something He's not here on earth, you have to also be in reality of that. The Jesus you would look at on earth is the Jesus you need to look at in heaven. I keep telling you about the separation of the Christ from the man Jesus on the day of his death, last breath, the Christ went back up to heaven, came back, resurrected him, stone rolled away, 3 days, 3 nights, back up. What I'm saying, that's the reality. And when the word says to look up into the things of heaven, that's what he's talking about. We're looking like the Jews, the Zionists, they're looking for their Savior to come, to agree with them, to appease them, to finally be what they have been harping about all this time. The funny part of it is, this is the reality. They set themselves apart from God's reality and made their own. In the natural world, we set ourselves apart from God's reality, God's matrix, within it, and separate ourselves to be outside of it, even though we're in it. See, that's the whole oxymoron. and what's what? That's when you hold on to these thoughts that, you could have your cake and eat it too. And it's not going to get old. It's not going to change. It's not going to, this is your ego, your thought patterns separated. When I finally came to understand in simple terms the reality of God, and then started looking at the Bible, the reality of the writers who were chosen and touched by him. I'm getting an indirect tap in. Even though it's indirect, it still directs me. You see, so first of all, let's go to chapter 4, 1 John. And 1, beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Hereby know ye the Spirit of God, capital S, capital G. Every spirit, S, small s, that confesseth that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is of God. But if every spirit that confesseth that Jesus Christ is not come in the flesh is not of God. And this is that spirit, and it's italicized, of the Antichrist, whereof ye have heard that it should come, and even now already is it in the world. For ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than greater he that is in the world. We've read that so many times, heard it read by great ministers, great men, whether they were ministers or whether they were politicians. We've heard people read this, right? And it sounds so profound and great, right? But I want you to understand, it's a very simple directive. It's not meant as, it's part of the package of your directive. You know how Star Trek, we have the prime directive, we don't interfere. I wish they would have a prime directive and stop interfering, but, it's a prime directive, if you will, okay? That if we're carrying the Spirit, we are to use that Spirit. We are to walk in that Spirit, right? And we are to try all those pretty voices, all those nice pearly white teeth. We have to discern the voice that comes out, how a radiance it comes out, or how assuring it comes. You got to weigh it. You got to listen to words. You got to be a detective. I think I said this once before, I'm not sure, but it's funny how when I was younger, I used to love, they're boring now to me, but I used to love CSI. I used to love those investigative things where they put the things under the microscope back in the day and stuff, and they'd find the murderer, they'd find the rapist or whatever, right? Cold case 50 years ago, a bone fragment about as big as your toenail. So they got, then they stopped it. Yeah, then they stopped making those type of movies and then gave us all the fluff again, all the fluffy stuff. Super people, oh yeah, now the superheroes are a bunch of mental cases and have to be put in rubber rooms, and, they look grungy or too sexy or transgender superheroes. I mean, it's try the spirits. Look around. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware. I'm telling you right now, if you don't have the gift of seeing shadow demons, and I'm not saying everybody should, every Christian should be able to be grown up enough to be able to handle the spiritual side. And God is not going to give you anything you can't handle, dear Christian. So if you're going to continue being a babe after 10, 15, 20 years in Christ, and you're not letting Christ grow, I don't know how Christ is dealing with you. To me, that Christ is angry because you're grieving it. You're not listening to it. You're sitting around probably eating Cheetos, which are going to be made by cricket meal shit. So you better be ready for that. You think worms are bad? Wait until you get Chaitin in your system. Oh yeah, Moderna and Pfizer and the pharmacia community, they'll have a medicine for Chaitin. Don't worry about it. Remember, cause and effect, cause and effect. They make the cause, they make the effect, and then they make the cure, right? So understand their version of the reality. Try the spirits. Now, also, Revelation 13, where I believe that we're in the midst of some of that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I got so many notes, you know. As I've told you before, my take could be wrong. I don't think it is, because the interlinear Greek not only uses the word him, but also interchanges it with it, meaning that we're talking about a demonic antichrist mindset in the system itself, the AI which is taking over the world, right? In the matrix of technology. And what they want, if you're a Christian, they're trying to get it to replace what you think God is in you. And trying to give you a God 2.0, if you will, which is so abominable, Anyway, so in saying that also, we live in a make-believe world. It's Hollywood everywhere. Everything the government is doing right now is a showcase. It is an improv. And I'm sorry, for the diehard American, the diehard government lover, diehard Trump lover, Democrat or Republican, listen to me. Your children on the other side, your children on the outside, you're brutish, you're ignorant. You may be the most technological group of people. Actually, here's the funny part. Humanity itself isn't all that technological. You know how to push buttons. There's a very few who make the phone. There's a very few who design the phone. There's very few who design the computer. There's very few who do the carry out thing. Very few who design the fake rockets that go up. I mean, very, very few. Because they know that what they're doing doesn't need something more than it needs, because it's not, even though it looks that way, it's not what it is. That's what I'm saying. Everything's make-believe. I remember when they made I think it was a 1989 or 88 King Kong movie. And on the set, they had fake cars, like the 1920s. They look real, but they never moved. And when they did move them, they were on a cart on the thing, and then back there was no back. So it was the way they did cameras. Everything is make-believe. You know that the news medias are make-believe. But here's what's funny. It's like going to a classic and watching maybe not us, Disney, I don't know. Let's say Moon River or some type of old movie, The Sound of the West, or what. But anyway, you're looking at it, even when you get into Dorothy in Wonderland, right? Everything's a set. But when you get into it and you're watching it, your mind wants to believe that what you're watching is real. Movies are the same way. Your mind is set because you're looking at something and you can't, at that moment in time, can't tell the difference between real and reality, because you have allowed yourself a luxury, which is actually detrimental to you, to space out, to be under the control of it. And every movie, when you go into it, you should know it's a movie. It's not real. The script is not real. But yet people can't tell the script from reality, the actor from the character, and stuff. And so, in our own minds, we think this person is this person. We hate them because of what they did. We love them one moment, but we hate them because of the character did something to somebody that you liked on the show, and now you're going to take it out. See, this is where they've got us. Stupid stuff that has nothing to do with nothing, that has no reality whatsoever to be consumed, to be thought about. And yet this is the type of people we have become, that humanity has become. We're not thinking. We're thoughtless. We allow thoughts to come into us instead of thoughts to come out of us. We consume whatever the candy and the flavor is of that day. Today, they're going to release tariffs. Tomorrow, there's not enough money to release. The next day, they're talking about releasing tariffs. And you're sitting here on this roller coaster ride, or me and Social Security. I don't know whether they're going to have it tomorrow or not, because they're going to hold back, whether they're going to give me my full amount, whether they're going to take some. And so the reality is they're taking your time. They're pulling you out of your reality. Like I said in the beginning. So you're living in their reality. Now, as a Christian, this is the hardest part. You got to walk in the reality of God. While you're walking in the reality of phony baloney, you still have to walk in the reality of God. Meaning that when they see you, when you see a globe, I see a lie. When I see a picture of a globe in a classroom, I see a lie. I see its replacement as a flat disk. That's our world. That's my reality because of this. So I screen my flat world through what the pages tell me. And you say, oh, you're stupid. You don't know what. Say what you want. You're on the outside of my reality. You're on the outside of God's reality. So anything that you say has no merit outside of God's reality, outside of God's matrix. You're on the outside of it. You're like on the eyeball. You're the little hair on the outside that shouldn't be there. And you irritate everything else. So, make-believe, Hollywood, DC. All these people are actors, like my song, puppets on a string. Actors. These people have no credibility about themselves. The common man, who could be a person who works in the garbage industry, working on the back of a truck, taking in garbage. That man may be 99.9% more intelligent because he has to live in this world than the world they made, than they are who made it. They think they know things because they've graduated Yale. They're the presidents and get all these idiots that are like, I've had a, to me it's, I've had a Masonic training, Jesuit schools, I became a man because of Jesuit, he became a brute. It had nothing to do with it. So here's it. They replace the teachings of God, the ethics of God, the virtues of God, and now they're going to take over. Like I said, God 2.0. They're going to come in, and now they're going to tell you what it means to have the character. And then you say, well, what character? We're looking for a character. I always love that. When we at the Masonic, when we take people, we're looking for a certain character. Well, there's a lot of you characters out there. Different characters. I don't know what kind of character, but if it's anything that what I've seen out there, they ain't good characters, kind of flimsy. But they look for a character. And if they don't see it in you, but they see promise, they will make sure that character's in you. So it's not a matter of them looking for a character in you. It's a matter, are you capable of taking on a character that they're going to make you into? That's Hollywood. That's acting. You have to understand, when they have these meetings behind closed doors, when they have these Bilderberg things and they hang around an owl and do all these rituals, it's not a fun-loving thing they do. It's not a bunch of men acting like boys, every once in a while and just hanging out. And the women, don't worry about it. They're just, it's like a man having his own little, in the basement, as his man cave, And no, these people are set up shop. These people go through life with an agenda. Their share of the agenda. They're very proud of what their portion is. One is a money giver, the financer, Then you have those who are the collectors, and then you have those who have the idea makers. Then you have the corporate, the infiltration into the corporate in everything, you see. And we infiltrate. Why does that supposed to sound like it's supposed to be a good thing? I remember old Klaus Schwab up there. We infiltrate every area of every country and every business and every corporate. Why is that a good thing? What do you infiltrate? It sounds like you're like a virus. You're infiltrating We want laws, but that's make-believe too. Because laws are based upon what will they do for those who make them. Meaning that you got to keep understanding people. You sit here and say, I make a vote, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm making a vote, I'm a powerful person. No, you ain't. You don't mean nothing. And you need to understand it. When you sit there and you drop your little ticket, you push your little button for so-and-so, it means absolutely nothing. Do you know what it is? It's just another deterrent, just like when people were at unrest, if history's right, people were on the unrest against Rome, the Caesar was too hard on them. Go throw some Jews out there, go throw some Christians out there at the Lions and give them popcorn, they'll like it. No different. They appease your soft spots. And by doing that, they get around your logic zones. You got popcorn. You're watching the fights. You're having a good time. How bad could it be? And it's a movie. And you happen to actually be now one of the extras. You live in a world of make-believe. 13, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the same sight of men. 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Back to the beast. It, the entity, the darkened room, the mist in the evening that's heavy, the hiss at night from a nearby snake. This is the earth. This is the reality. You know, there's an old movie. I've been trying to find it. I don't know the name of it. It's an old 1970s B-rated movie. But I do remember of it. The government, there was an actual war or whatever. The government, it was a cheap movie, but it was when I remember what I remember of it, it was very strong. That's why maybe I can't find it, because it was a very telling thing. They would send out signals, and the people would imagine everything's destroyed around them, but they would imagine that everything is real. Just like the Matrix, right? You're in that pot. But this is, they have these towers. We have towers. And they put out a signal. And all of a sudden, there would be a place where it was a broken down town. Looked like an old horse town, right? And the police would be on bicycles thinking they're on motorcycles or in boxes that look like cars, and are running back and forth thinking they're police officers riding on cars. But in their minds, this thing is turned on. They see they see the car. It's really weird. But what reason I brought it up is because it's what they've done to us. It's sort of like they've turned on these switches that we respond to, mankind responds to. I can't respond to it no more. I know too much. I'm too far advanced in my spiritual power. They can't fool me anymore. Nothing that's said on the news, nothing that's said, I'm not startled anymore. I'm actually prepared for it. I'm ready for it. And if the worst actually physically comes to worse, I'm spiritually ready. I may not always even be physically ready, but I'm telling you something. If I were to face death and know it, I'm spiritually ready. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't think a good percentage of the Christian population are. They're not prepared for that. It's like, I mean, I've always heard that nobody's prepared for death. Why? It's something that's going to happen, right? I do get kind of aggravated because I'll get these calls now that I'm 66. I thought I'd get more calls from AARP, but I'm getting calls with, would you like to prepare your family for for your sudden departure and get insurance? Like, no, I'm not ready for you. They're trying to throw me already in a grave, and I'm not there yet. Prepare your heart, prepare your mind, prepare your spirit. Allow your spirit to prepare you. And you need to always remember this as a son of God, a child of God, whether you're a woman or a man, a maiden of God who does great things, or you're a man of God who's not a minister, but you're always put your spiritual foot forward. May not always be your best, but it's going to be your honest foot forward. You see, people who don't think twice because they've trained themselves, as you don't need to be trained to do sin because it's instilled in you. You have to train to break free from that grip physically and mentally, because you now have the power of the Holy Spirit that can compensate that problem. because now you have knowledge, you have wisdom, you have dunamis, you have power. Now, the power of a movie can draw you in. Depends on the writing. Spielberg, all the movies he's done, right? People, I remember that thing they I keep hearing from turn your head ministries. He always comes up with that Spielberg. Well, if it wasn't for Spielberg, I won't know whether I'd be making movies the way I do. It's like their God. Spielberg is the God of science fiction. So anyway, so you got all these make-believe things, and we get involved in them. People. I love Star Trek. I'm not going to go dress up like Spock and go to a convention, though. I'm not saying I wouldn't mind being at a convention just to see what it looks like, but I mean, I don't care whether I do or not. I'd rather go down, take a walk on a nice day and see the creek than I would to worry about all that crap. But what I'm saying is, I watch Star Trek. Captain Kirk was my man. He was a captain's captain, right? And so it's Spock, logic, love logic, right? Starship Enterprise. And yet I knew it wasn't real. But my focus, every time it was on, I didn't differentiate at that moment. Not that that's not, it's not dangerous to be that way, but it's haphazard. I throw a lot of stuff at you people, and a lot of what I say can sometimes go like this, and I don't mean to be that way. I want you to be strong. I want you to be opinionated with the backing of the word. Like if you're speaking for God, do you know him? It's like people will be hired to be the front man for a business, and they'll tell you what it is, but do you know anything about why you're fronting? I mean, do you actually know what's going on? Or are you just giving people the cover story? I mean, then they'll put people who look like they're in charge, but it's the board that's actually in charge. They just have a front man. You see, nothing is what it appears to be. People aren't as important as they appear to be. Some people who aren't important are more important than they appear to be. The men behind the scenes who are the real puppeteers have a puppeteer of their own that controls them. The darkness of Lucifer, Satan, whatever, you got to understand, there's a pull down. If you don't break free, it's like if you don't put the safety jacket of truth on, like you're in the water, and you put the safety jacket on, in case you do your floating device. You need that floating device. That's what the Holy Spirit of Christ is like, and it's even better than that. It's a floating device. Okay, it keeps you above the waters of turbulence. It keeps you above so you can think, so you can reason, so you can allow the Spirit of Christ to give you knowledge and wisdom, and you can pray and have a relationship. When you're a kid, you're out in the woods, and you fell, and you're about 10 years old, and you're 7, 10 years old, and you fell, and you're out there with your dad, and you fall and you hurt yourself. What is the first thing that you do? Dad, you're crying, Dad, because you know Dad's there. You know he's nearby, and you need him. No ifs, no ands. An honest cry out to your Father because you need him. That's reality. Your reality must be when you call out to God, you need him. You want him. You want his attention. Like you people would go to your Trump events and Donald, we love you. He don't care. He may react and may look at you, but you're voting cattle. He's appeasing you. And you all know that, but you don't even want to acknowledge what he's done to you. They have gotten everybody off hinged, and they treat us all like we're one size glove that fits all. And so everybody's being treated with disrespect, dishonor, discreditation. Many of you people out there, Christian or not, are some good people, down to the earth people who just want to live their lives and be left alone. But see, they're not going to let you do that, whether you believe in God or not. I believe in God. They're not going to let me do that. I trust in God. They're not going to let me do anything else. Even though I don't care how much you go, you're going to take the mark. No, I'm not. Then you will die. So be it. Are some of you there? Are you willing to be able to say it? It's just as easy as I just said it. I'm not going to think twice. I've said it before, I might physically be afraid, might pee my pants, may even shit myself, but I'm not going to say, if you're going to kill me, then kill me. I'm not going to do what you want me to do. I will not bow down to you because you want me to, because that discredits who I am. And I will not allow you little things, you little peons of of dominion. You're not going to take that away from me. I will die, and I will die saved. You will die proud, and you will die and go to hell. There's a difference. How well does a man die? I always loved the Klingons. You know, it's a good day to die. If I go to battle, I die. I love that attitude. I really do. If I die, I go to Sobukor. I'm whatever it was. You know, I mean, I like that attitude because they're not afraid. That's what makes a warrior. Kamikaze pilots, they weren't afraid of their death. Okay, they had some opium and got them a little high, and all of a sudden, you know, they're and do a ship or something like that, and do another plane. And we're being stimulated by all of this make-believe. And you gotta know the difference between what's real and what's not. William Shatner even said when he was asked, you know, what's the difference between science fiction and science? He goes, they're the same. And if you were to press them even more, what about acting? It's all the same. You got to be a good actor to pull off an astronaut thing, right? You got to be, and you got to have no conscience to do it. You got to be able to smile. See, that was the mistake back in the 60s when the three guys were they were all sitting there and they're looking down and fidgety like little kids who got caught, you know, stealing a candy bar from the store, you know, and being questioned. I mean, that's what they acted like. They were supposed to go, if you want, these guys are at least acting a little bit. Oh, yeah, one guy comes up, Abomination, sitting there saying, oh, when you're up there, you see the wonderful works of God. You lying, Mason. Never trust a Mason who uses the word God. Or always ask him, what God are you talking about? I'm telling you, if you're ever in front of a Mason, you're talking to, ask them what God they're talking about when they're talking about God. Pin them down. Reality. So, what is the power of suggestion? Just what it is. When he says he's been given power by the beast to do all these things and cause great things, you know, like fire from the sky, that ain't no big thing. They got drones. They got all kinds of stuff going on. They got the shields up there now with all the metals and stuff. Change the sun from yellow to white. Skies are all blocking. I'm sick of it. It's almost 51 degrees. I'm in Ohio, and it should be 70 degrees outside with a sunny shine. They won't let us have any freaking sunshine. That's my reality. And I know it's not natural. That's reality. You sit here saying, oh, it's just because of global warming. That's not reality. That's the proposition. That's the script. But that's not the reality. You look outside and say, well, look, it's a nice day. No, it's not nice. It's cold. The birds are in the trees keeping warm. The insects don't know whether they should hibernate or not. So don't sit here and tell me all this is normal. That means you're not in reality. You don't have a grip of reality. Because you're watching CNN, you're on your phone, and you're sitting there watching this like a movie and thinking, oh, poor Melania. Melania puts her foot in her mouth, just like Trump puts his foot in his mouth. And I'm getting to believe the reality is it's all part of their script. Trump is supposed to act like a jester. He's not supposed to act really like a potent king. He's a jackal, okay, if you will. He's a jester, and I wish somebody would actually. I love King Charles. Actually, he's sitting there talking against Trump and his regime, and yet all these puppets are sitting here. I mean, It's not reality. It's reality, but it's a made up, funky reality. It's not supposed to happen. And you have got to understand that if they're doing it now, why would they do this? This is the question of all the, you people with tinfoil. Why would they fake space? Why would everybody be in on it? Departmented. It's departmented. One does not know what the other ones are. One's reading telemetry from this side. One's reading from telemetry from that side. They've been trained from their college years what telemetry is. And you actually, it's a telemetry of where they're going in space. They don't know. So one telemetrist isn't pervy to the other telemetrist, if there's such a thing. One watches screens. One watches this. Follow the wires and see where they go. From the monitors, where do the wires go? Are they going to the ship? Are they going to computers to the ship? Are they going? Are they in the waves now? Are they 5G, 6G? What's going on? What's going up and then coming back down before the curve? But you don't see reality. I believe that God stated that he created a world with water, and then around it was water, and then earth with water. And then he put a dome. That's what he says, a tent. We know what a tent looks like. The tent has a firmament. You can't get through it unless you cut it and, you can mount, boom to it, But it's a firmament above to protect what's in. From the waters above to the water. But you're not seeing the reality that was written. Because they're showing you the movie that they wrote instead. The script. The AI visuals. And even when the guy does the blue marble thing, or the little pansy ass guy who talks for NASA with the glasses, like and he'll sit there and go, well, it takes a lot of brain power to figure out how to make a door shut in space, and idiots, complete idiots. And yet this is the man who's fronting all that money-making thing they're doing. All those rituals. He's the front man, the technical guy. Well, the guy made, like I said, the blue marble. Well, we have to do it that way. Why? We have to show you CGI. Why? Well, we have to show you what NASA pulls out. Why? Because your reality is a false reality. And you can only pull so many rabbits out of your hat. That's all. Do you know about Star Trek? Remember the old Star Trek? There were really no portholes, no windows. They didn't have the technology to make it look as real, so they went without them. So there was never any real, you go into a room, meeting room, there was never, it was just a wall, right? And then the next generation, and with the technology, now they had portals. You could see space go by, the stars and stuff. Not reality. Anyway, and so now you're given more visual. Now you're seeing more of a reality because your eyes and your mind, and it's not like the old Starship, because now you can see outside of space. Now you can see. Now your mind can get together. You see what I'm saying? They help us try to imagine a fake world, and we help them by absorbing it and accepting it and believing it. So anyway, you will be deceived if you do not man up to the power of the Holy Spirit. You will be deceived. You will be hurted. You will be lied to. You will be misrepresented. You will be misplaced. You will be missed. And then again, you will not. You will be pushed, set to the side to make room for new, for better. Mankind 2.0, if you will. And they're mankind's God 2.0. Because the real reality no longer works for their reality. But guess what? God's reality, they don't even know they're laying in. It's God's reality that they're trying to separate themselves from. And I know that's hard to wrap around your head, but to me, that's my reality. I believe that with all my heart, soul, and mind. I've accepted that, God, for a while now. So, remember, when you watch TV, when you watch the news, when you hear the jester from Washington, D.C. come out and say something, the man with the hands that are swollen and the legs swollen and stuff, farts around and smells like a God knows what. I wouldn't want to be around him. But anyway, so you got all this stuff going on, all this so-called reality. Be authoritative. Be a child of God. Listen to the Spirit of Christ. Grow up and stop being a child of the world. Stop being a little spoiled brat for the world. And if you're a born-again Christian, get up off your butts and start preaching the Word of God, and stop trying to tell people who they should or should not vote for. I don't give a shit about that stuff. Nobody should care about that stuff. Trump is a loser. The government is a loser. Both sides are losers. They work for each other. They don't work for God. There's no God in Washington, D.C. It's a bunch of demigods. And when you finally figure that out, dear Christian, you'll stop putting stupid things on your ears and stop sitting there and thinking that Jesus is walking with a man. That's blasphemous. You don't equate God with a moron. Okay? Never. He's a jester. That's what I think of Donald Trump. He's a jester. He needs those little pointed hat with the different, he needs to wear. Somebody make that up if you are an artist. Send it to me. Send me something that looks like Trump, looks like a little jester. I'll probably find one on him. It's got to be on YouTube. I find all my thumbnails on Google or Chrome. I'll find all Google. I'll find pictures that I want. So, and there'll probably be a picture of Trump who's a jester which would be appropriate. Anyway, love y'all. There'll be a song or two, and then Derby Jack out. Hope to see you all on the other side. What do you do when your well caves in? The life you live, it isn't much to do. You don't know how you can rise above. You feel so empty and you don't know love. You gotta look Christ in. He's the only light that will show you the way. You gotta look Christ in. God washed away your sins with Him. You gotta let Christ in. He's the only light that will show you the way. You gotta let Christ in. You gotta let Christ in. Winds are blowing, the rain's falling down. Keep getting defeated round after round. Another road and another dead end. No matter what you do, you just can't win. You gotta let Christ in. He's the only light that will show you the way. You gotta let Christ in. God washed away your sins with Him. Gotta let Christ in. He's the only light that will show you the way. You gotta let Christ in. You gotta let Christ in. You gotta let Christ in. Let Him in. You gotta let Christ in. You gotta let Christ in. You know you do, you gotta let Christ in. You gotta let Christ in. You know you do, you gotta let Christ in. You gotta let Christ in. You think the man in the Oval Office is running in all the Washington, the alley cars, and the city kid. But they are masters above the grade, who controls all of what they do and say. They are nothing more than puppets on the street. Trust what you see and hear on the evening news. A little good, mostly bad, they keep you in the loop and glue. Each talking head has a part to play, just like actors up on a stage. They're nothing more than puppets on the street.
just because they say cold-hearted, too high-minded to see, they turn away. They become vessels full of lust and greed, possessed by darkness and demons, you see. They're nothing more than puppets on the string. Puppeteers in the shadows have a master too. He strings them up on the stage, they are his toys and tools. He fills them with hate and a reprobate mind. They believe they're rulers, but they're deaf, dumb, and blind. They're nothing more than puppets on the string. He fills them with hate and a reprobate mind. They believe they're rulers, but they're deaf, dumb, and blind. They're nothing more than puppets on the string. They're just puppets on the string. They're just puppets on the string. Yeah, they're just puppets on the string. Yeah, they're puppets on the string. They're just puppets on the